bright lights now.
Oh yeah.
I'm ready to start.
So,
That's good.
yep.
All right. So, a few thoughts on the matchup. What do you know about Maryland?
Very good team, good program. Coach has been there for a long time. They've had lots of success. I think it's 3 national titles. It's a place where they find themselves all the time. So I think that they're going to come in, be confident. They've had a pretty good season. And they started off with a couple of tough games, and I think they turned it around after that. So, again, there are no easy games in the Elite Eight. We've worked all week. We're doing the scout after practice today, so everyone is on the same page of what we're trying to do tomorrow. But for us at this point, what we've done to this point of the season, we play anyone. So, of course, we're going to respect Maryland. Excited to be able to play in an Elite Eight game, and then we'll have to see what happens tomorrow.
So we heard about your kind of special messages the first 2 weeks of the tournament. What is it this week?
Now, this one was easy. Get to California,
Yeah.
right? It's just one more game. We were out the other day when it was snow and windy and cold, and it's one of those where you're always trying to play little tricks with them. So I was out there in shorts and short sleeves, and they were asking what was going on. I said I had California on my mind. So I think, just like Maryland, I'm sure they do, but I think, again, it's been a long season. We've done really, really well, and now we just have one more game, and can we get the result that we want to be able to play a Final Four game in Santa Barbara next weekend?
Do you have any, when you're out there in the cold like that, do you have any thoughts back to January, February when you're thinking about this stage, but it's kind of far off and now it's so immediate and it's here? How does that kind of hit you?
Yeah, I think not during practice, but I think in the lull, like after you drop the kids off at school and you have a little time before you do staff meeting and that kind of stuff. And I think, again, for the 12 returners that we have on the team, you just couldn't be any prouder of how hard those guys have worked. And we talked, I think, after the Lipscomb game about that, every week has been a good week, but it hasn't been a perfect week. And these guys aren't perfect, but they're getting closer and closer to what we're looking for out of our players in regards to the core values and how they should behave and how you make sure that you show and lead by example. So, again, on Tuesday when it was really cold, that was no different than in January and February. The difference from January and February was that there was no Elite Eight game a couple of days later. So I didn't think this week was going to be a problem in terms of practice, and it hasn't been. I think it's been on the other side where you kind of had to dial it down a little bit, like, okay, let's just make sure that we get everything done in practice today, but everyone stays healthy. So I think that's the big difference.
It's hard to know what to expect tomorrow night, but you have a match under your belt where you dominated and then one where you had to sort of grit it out and find a way to win. How happy are you to have those sort of 2 different experiences under your belt?
Yeah, no, I think, because, again, we've had some really, really good games at home where we've gotten a couple of big results. And then I think if you look at the conference tournament, the 2-1 against Marshall and then the 1-0 against Charlotte, those weren't easy games. And even Marshall was a man down for the majority of the second half. And then I think Portland is just one of those where we played exactly how we wanted the game plan. And then we knew with Lipscomb that it was going to be really, really tough. So I think that there's very few times you see a quarterfinal game in the NCAA tournament that is not decided by a goal. But I also feel that against Lipscomb, we probably left 4 to 6 chances that we normally put away. So if we play like we played against Louisville or Indiana at home earlier this year, then I can see ourselves doing really, really well tomorrow. And again, with the attacking players that we have, they're ready to go. They want to make sure that we keep going for another week.
Is there maybe a balance that you're doing where you're kind of keeping the guys focused but also letting them enjoy this little run, this deep run that they're having too?
No, this is the no fun police. We don't have any fun here whatsoever. That's for the captains. And I think we balance each other out really well, where I try to be a little more relaxed, which doesn't come natural to me, but with Tanner and JJ and Key and the rest of the guys, I think they do a good job, and we find a balance that way. So what we've talked about all season is like, okay, we're not going to do any more or any less. We're just going to keep working on these key things. And if we do that and if we stay to the game plan, they're going to get the results. And I think the guys have done a really, really good job doing that every week.
What would got to imagine the advantage of playing on your home pitch tomorrow night's going to help?
Yeah, absolutely. We're undefeated. I think we scored 32 goals. We've only let 2 goals in all year, so the guys are excited. I think it's really easy. It's not really easy. It's much better to be home. They can go to class. They can do their normal routine. They can see family and friends. So for us, I think it's been wonderful to get the number 3 seed to be able to stay at home all the way through the quarterfinals. And now the guys are ready. We just need to perform tomorrow.
What's it like going in when other teams have the pedigree, they have the title, the
Yeah.
national titles. You're coming in. If you survive this week, you could still be the highest seed left in the College Cup. I mean, what's your attack mentality there?
Well, I think history is just a point of reference. And we might not have the richest history, but we have one of the best teams in the country. We're one of the best attackers in the country. We're one of the best goalkeepers. So, again, what we've talked about as a staff, when we sit and we compare the other team to us, is do we have the better players? And if we have the other players, we're in a pretty good spot. And, again, Maryland is a great program. They've done really, really well. I'm sure it's going to be a tough game tomorrow. But if I got to pick squads, I'd take my squad.
How special is it for you all to be able to make this tournament run, go to the Elite Eight for the first time ever?
It's fun, but it's also one of those where, it's a 7-year process for me. I've been here for 7 years now, and I think currently we're doing really well as a program, but the whole athletic department, I think someone told me this stat of over the last 2 weekends, we were 22-0. So everyone's winning, and I think that for us, we've done a fair amount of winning in regular season, but we haven't been able to get over the hump in the NCAA, so it's fine. It's fine. It's great to finally be able to have everyone healthy and to get the results that you want. So I think it's one of those, again, where we're just going to keep doing what we do, because then more often than not, we're going to get the result. And then once the season is over, then I think you can sit down and start reflecting and enjoying all the moments that you have in the back of your mind in regards to some of the big games and the big crowds that we've had here.
What would it mean specifically to this program to get over that Elite Eight game tomorrow and then head to California?
Yeah, we just want to keep playing. I don't know exactly what specifically it would mean, but for Tanner, who is a senior and he's won the league twice, and of course this is the first time that he has a chance to go to a Final Four, I think that we just want to keep playing. Tanner doesn't want to be done with his college career. We don't want this college season to be over, so we would like to get the result tomorrow so we get another week of training and then play again on Friday.
This is just you said you've been here 7 years and building. What does this do for the program, recruiting wise, and for you?
Yeah, I think of course it helps, but it's also one of those where if you look at the level of support that we get from the administration, you look at the facility that we play in and the training field and how we're supplied with Nike and all that kind of stuff, it's one of the top programs in the country with how we are supported. So I think that whenever you have success, of course there's going to be more players that are interested in you. But I think also over these last couple of years, we've found exactly the kind of players that work with our system. So I don't know if that means that we're going to be looking for different players. I think there may be more players that are interested in coming here, but then also on the flip side, there's lots of different pro clubs now that are kind of looking at our players and saying, oh, that guy's doing well, maybe I should take a look at him, even though he might not be a senior. So I think in the past, we've been able to keep our players for 4 years, but like Maryland and some of the other top programs in the country, I think it's just part of the business of college sports is that sometimes you might not be able to get a hold or get to keep a guy for 4 years. But I think for us is we're just, however long we have the guys, we want to make sure that we maximize their potential. And if you look at JJ over the 3 years we've been here, did he improve? Absolutely. If you look at Amay, who was redshirted as a freshman year, has he improved to his junior year? Absolutely. So I think that's what we focus on. Again, can we get better every single week? And can we make sure that the guys keep improving every year? And then we're just happy to have them for as long as we can.
And I'm skipping ahead a little here, but there's two high-profile players from Kentucky that went to maybe Indiana, keeper, and then Notre Dame, a midfielder, that
Yeah.
played with Amay. Does that say anything to the in-state talent here of maybe, hey, Kentucky's
I think that if you that's a 7-year sample and you're using 2 players, so I don't think statistically I'm going to agree with that one.
That's all right.
But I think that there are Trey. We really wanted to get to come here, but there were some other factors involved in regards to scholarships and competition for spots and that kind of stuff, which ended up him going somewhere else. And then in regards to the guy that went to Notre Dame, that was a completely different situation. So I think for us, we are the University of Kentucky, so if there are any good in-state players, and we have a couple coming next year, then we definitely want to be in the conversation. But then if we're not going to get all of them, and I think there's also years where there's 1 or 2 Division I players. So I think that there is good soccer players both locally here in Lexington and also in the state, but it doesn't mean that they're all going to end up here, even if we make an Elite Eight.